December 17th, a day of American genius and its terrifying shadow. It's a date that reveals a chilling pattern. For every soaring achievement, there seems to be a corresponding plunge into ethical darkness. A day where ambition curdles into atrocity and oversight fails with fatal results. Welcome. We celebrate human achievement on specific dates, but what about the dates that mark human failure? Not just mistakes, but profound systemic ethical collapses. December 17th is one of those dates, a day where the guardrails came off, repeatedly, with devastating outcomes. Today, we're examining 4 events from this date, spanning the 20th and 21st centuries. Each represents a different sphere of failure: the ethics of war, the ethics of justice at home, the ethics of corporate power, and the haunting echo of it all. Failure number 1, the Malmedy Massacre, 1944. The abandonment of the rules of war. On December 17, 1944, during the opening hours of the Battle of the Bulge, Waffen-SS soldiers under Joachim Peiper's command captured over 80 American POWs near the Belgian town of Malmedy. The event: they marched the unarmed men into a field and opened fire with machine guns. Those who survived the initial volley were hunted down and shot point blank. 84 men were murdered in cold blood. The core ethical failure. This was a deliberate, systematic violation of the Geneva Conventions and all norms of warfare. The mistake, or rather, the atrocity, exposed the Nazi ideology's complete contempt for the rules of engagement, but it also forced a moral crisis for the U.S. How to pursue justice after the war for a crime that shattered the very framework of conflict. Failure number 2, the death of Betty Osborne, 1960, the failure of due process and civil rights. On December 17, 1960, in Leesburg, Georgia, a 15-year-old black girl named Betty Osborne was found dead in the Leesburg stockade, a makeshift jail. She was one of several black youth arrested for protesting segregation. The context: the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee (SNCC) protests in the deeply segregated South. The official story and the obvious failure. The coroner ruled her death a suicide by hanging, but to the black community and civil rights investigators, it was a clear case of murder and a cover-up. The ethical failure was total: a failure to protect a child in state custody, a failure to investigate her death impartially, and the systemic racism of a justice system designed to neither serve nor protect her. It was a deadly illustration that Jim Crow wasn't just separate facilities. It was the total denial of legal personhood. Failure number 3, police riot at the UCLA student protest, 1969. The failure of restraint and the police riot. On December 17, 1969, a student protest at UCLA against the firing of a popular professor devolved into what official investigators later termed a police riot. The escalation. The Los Angeles Police Department and county sheriff's deputies responded to the demonstration with extreme, indiscriminate violence, clubbing not only protesters but also journalists and bystanders. The institutional ethical failure. This wasn't just a few bad apples. It was a systemic failure of command, training, and purpose. The police abandoned their role as peace officers and became an instrument of punitive violence. The mistake was the state sanctioning excessive force to quash dissent, eroding public trust, and proving the protesters' points about authoritarian power. Failure number 4. Boeing announces termination of 737. MAX chief pilot, 2021. The failure of corporate accountability. On December 17, 2021, Boeing announced it was terminating its former chief 737 MAX pilot, Mark Faulkner, the only individual criminally charged in connection with the 2 crashes that killed 346 people. The context: the crashes of Lion Air Flight 610 and Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302, tied to the flawed MCAS system. The modern ethical failure. Faulkner was a mid-level employee. His termination, years later, symbolized a colossal failure of corporate ethics and regulatory capture. The real mistake was a company culture that prioritized speed and profit over safety, and a regulatory system, the FAA, that allowed Boeing to largely self-certify its own plane. Letting a single pilot take the fall for a systemic, top-down engineering and ethical disaster was the final act of a moral freefall that began on the drawing board. The common thread connecting the dots: Malmedy, Leesburg, UCLA, Boeing. These aren't random tragedies. They are stress tests for ethics in different American institutions, and on December 17th, they all failed catastrophically. Graphic list on screen. Dehumanization, Malmedy Osborne. Denying the humanity of the enemy or the other to justify murder. Institutional violence, UCLA, Osborne. The state or its agents using unlawful force against its own people. The scapegoat, Boeing. Systems designed to avoid accountability, offering up a single person to absorb the blame for a collective moral collapse. The unavoidable question, the pattern of December 17th asks us an uncomfortable question. Are these extraordinary failures? Or are they the periodic, brutal reveal of what happens when ethical safeguards are weak, ignored, or never built at all? This day shows that without constant, vigorous protection, the rules of war, justice, public safety, and commerce can simply disappear. And when they do, people pay with their lives. Conclusion: which of these ethical failures do you think has the most lasting legacy on America today? The rules of war, civil rights, police accountability, or corporate regulation? Let's discuss in the comments. If you believe in examining history's hard lessons, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Thanks for watching.